I never expected a dog to talk back to me. Not in a real way. Not like this. And yet, the first week I brought him home, he looked me in the eye and said, clear as day, "Why you in my business?" I swear to you, I almost dropped the glass in my hand. The voice wasn't perfect, but it was there. Sharp, deliberate, weirdly human. It didn't make sense, but it didn't have to. Because from the moment I met Mimosa, nothing about life made sense anymore. It was louder, messier, and somehow better. My name is Ray. I met Mimosa at a time in my life when I didn't even know I needed saving. I'd gone to the shelter to adopt a completely different dog, a quiet little terrier I'd seen online. But when I arrived, the woman at the desk didn't even smile. She just looked at me and said, "I don't think you're going to want this one." Her voice was flat, tired. "He's been returned 3 times already. He's too much." And I guess something in me stirred, because instead of walking away, I said, "Can I meet him?" The door opened and this blur of motion came flying out. A wild brown tornado of fur and energy. Mimosa. He was flipping around, barking like he had something urgent to say, snapping his head from side to side like he couldn't figure out where to focus first. He was biting the air, jumping, twisting, just total chaos. The staff looked horrified. I looked at him and said, "I'll take him." Everyone thought I was out of my mind. And maybe I was. But something about him, something in those frantic eyes, made me feel like he wasn't broken. Just misunderstood. I figured he'd calm down once we got home. But what I didn't know then was that Mimosa wasn't just energetic. He was sick. Really sick. Within days, he stopped eating. He couldn't keep anything down. I rushed him to the vet, and they confirmed it. Parvo, a deadly virus, especially in dogs that have already been weakened by stress and neglect. My heart sank. I had just started getting attached. I didn't know if he was going to make it. The next few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights, vet visits, and syringes of medicine. I held him through it all. And somewhere in the middle of all that pain, a bond formed. One that I didn't fully understand yet. He stopped fighting me. He started resting his head on my lap. And once he recovered, he never left my side again. We became each other's constant. At the time, I was working from home, so we spent every day together. And Mimosa? He didn't like being alone. Not even for a minute. If I moved from the couch to the kitchen, he followed. If I went to the bathroom, he waited outside the door. He had to be touching me. His paw on my leg, his head on my lap, even just leaning against my back while I typed. At first, I thought it was cute. But then I realized I needed it just as much as he did. He was handsy, clingy, loud, and unbelievably smart. That was the first thing people noticed about him. Mimosa didn't just bark. He spoke. He would stare at your mouth as you talked, studying how your lips moved. Then, he'd try to copy it. The words came out strange, garbled, but unmistakable. Run meant he wanted to go outside. Tap meant he was hungry, and he'd gently hit my leg to make sure I got the message. Once he realized people paid attention when he talked, he doubled down on it. He became a little performer. But what really shocked me was how much he seemed to understand. If I told him it was bedtime, he'd groan in protest. If I was sad, he'd curl up beside me without making a sound. Sometimes, on those hard days when I didn't feel like getting out of bed, he'd just lay there too. Silent, patient, warm. He didn't ask for walks. He didn't bark. He just stayed close. Mimosa came into my life during a time of quiet desperation. I hadn't told anyone, but I was struggling. Mentally, emotionally, even physically. The days felt long and heavy. There were mornings I didn't even want to wake up. But he gave me a reason to. Not because I had to take care of him, but because I wanted to. He made life feel alive again. Loud, chaotic, unpredictable, but alive. He talks back, he argues, he yells, but he's also my shadow, my coworker, my therapy dog, my lifeline. I think he knows what he means to me, even if I've never said it out loud. And when he curls up next to me at night, I think, how lucky am I to have this? I know not everyone has a mimosa, but there are so many animals just like him, labeled difficult, rejected, returned over and over again, who are waiting for someone to take a chance. They don't need a perfect home. They just need someone to believe they're worth loving. If Mimosa's story moved you, please share it. Share it with someone who needs to believe in second chances, someone who's thinking about adoption. And if you're able, please consider donating to your local shelter or rescue group. Your support can help give dogs like Mimosa a shot at the life they deserve. You never know when love is going to show up. Sometimes it arrives in a blur of barking and chaos, saying things it shouldn't be able to say. But if you open your heart just a little, it might be exactly what saves you. Because that's what Mimosa did. He didn't just learn how to talk. He taught me how to live again,